So I'm going to start off with something I think a lot of the faculty are really interested in. We heard a little bit about this on the earlier panel, but can you explain to us a little bit more and comment on how we might be able to present other activities like social media, outreach? There are a lot of people who do a lot of community engaged research. There are a lot of people who do a lot of program evaluation. How do we incorporate all these other things into our CVs, and what's the best way to approach that?
Yeah. So the Sinai CV is a good format because it's a little bit between a CV and a portfolio, and it allows a narrative. So that narrative under research interest or clinical gives you the chance to elaborate, for example, on your social media initiatives. The chaired letter is absolutely key in this respect also, and if you're a big social media contributor, the CV, the chair's letter should really talk about just this impact that it's having on your area of interest.
So what are you thinking that somebody's going to be doing with social media that want to be highlighted in their CV? I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, I think we used earlier the example of one of my faculty who does a podcast every month.
Oh, yeah, education. Yeah.
So the education impact is
Yes.
absolutely huge. From a system point of view, somebody who's developed an educational intervention that then gets broadcast to the other sites, you know what? That becomes, say someone develops a leadership curriculum. They get videoed, put up on your department's website. That's a leadership curriculum. So you've now innovated as an educator and you've disseminated. And then, of course, if you're able to get somebody to write letters, one of your referees, how they actually go to your website and use that leadership curriculum. This is all now how you begin weaving an impact presentation.
You know, I think that type of material, like if you do a podcast, that is a presentation. It's a little bit different than me sitting here, or any of us sitting here physically, but it's a presentation through a different methodology. So certainly I have a list, and probably most people do in their CV, of academic presentations, which usually speak to your regional, national, and international reputation. And this is, so certainly I would put a podcast in there if that's what you're doing, or a lecture that ends up on, some other electronic media. Push it out.
Then there are a lot of other things that don't fit anywhere. That usually goes in the chair statement. For instance, you may have community activities, be a leader of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, have some hook in with some international non-governmental organization. You're on the Northeast hockey team that you're the captain of, all this type of stuff that nobody ever thinks of. But what this does, it sort of rounds out who you are and what you do and your value to the institution, other than the actual paperwork that allows you to spell out your particular job, research, impact, etc.
A little bit like, old style, they used to teach about how to write an article for a newspaper, putting the most important things at the top, and it sort of dwindles down. The most important, of course, is looking at the faculty handbook, which is online, and addressing what they think is appropriate for that appointment, whatever track, whatever, associate, assistant, professor, whatever you're looking at, because you want to start with those things. And then as you get down, some of the other things would be nice to have in there if there's room. But start with making that list. What would I want a committee, who are going to be reviewing this, what would I want them to know about me? What is important related to what they're asking about? So it's not just what you think important to you, because that maybe you like that podcast better than anything else, but what's important to the committee, and they're going to go by the written document. Is there evidence of scholarship? Spill it back. My evidence of scholarship is, it's not creative writing. Spill it out how you demonstrated that characteristic. And start out with, listing it, and then you may want to reorder it, depending on, when you look at your whole list of those marvelous things you've done, what would you put high on the list, kind of thing.